He's just so incredibly vulnerable and honest and authentic in a lot of his stuff, and it really resonated with me. And he would talk about Restoration Club, and it this was like a point in my life of like, I made the decision to go sober, which was a very, a big thing in my life, that I was just like, look, I have to make changes. Like, something needs to be done. Like, I don't think I'm on the right path with my life. And so one of the, early thoughts of that journey was like, I think I need to explore my faith.
Okay, here we are. Season 3, episode 6, Restoration Club podcast live. Happy Ryder Cup Eve.
Yes, sir.
We're ready. Let's get the if we didn't get in trouble for copyrights or any kind of that stuff, I'd be playing like Lee Greenwood, I'm Proud to Be an American, Hulk Hogan theme songs, whatever it is, USA chanting in the background. Maybe get a stealth bomber fly over the house just so we can pick it up on the feed. But boys, are we ready? Are we pumped for the Ryder Cup?
You're not excited at all, are you?
I can't. I'm like, I don't normally set the timer on the TV to make sure I have it on to watch it. But we will be ready, making breakfast as the boys get ready for school, and they will be locked in on Bryson sending it. So it's good. I'm excited. If there was anybody you're really wanting to see play out of these both sides, who are you interested in? What are some interesting pieces of players you guys are hoping to see?
Man, I feel like the lineups are so strong. I'm really hoping we can step up to the task. I know last time we just certainly did not. So I feel like the pairings look really good coming out. I know in the first groupings, one I'm really interested to see, the rookie, Ben Griffin, see how he plays out in this tournament. So yeah, see if he can handle the stage. But either way, I think it's going to be a heavyweight match.
Yeah. Mr. Cummings, how about you? What are you looking forward to in the Ryder Cup here?
It's the very first match. Like, I think the team of Bryson and JT, I love, when it comes to the Ryder Cup, I just love the emotional like standpoint of it. And like, that's the like most emotional team you're going to get out there. So like, I just want to see it. That's just going to be, yes.
I already told my dad, I don't know if anybody's going to need their coffee tomorrow morning with those two standing on the first tee to kick things off.
Just the boom that's going to come from the crowd would make the introduction, the walk out of the tunnel. It's going to be, America does things a little bit differently than the rest of the world. And we have a way of doing things, and we're about to do something really special. And so hopefully the crowd stays in line, has a great time with it. Players do what they're supposed to do. All I really want is great golf, right? That's like the main focus. But that's neither here nor there. Here we are, though. As we said, episode 6 of season 3 here. And we're so lucky to be joined by our friend Ryan Cummings. Ryan Cummings of Palmetto and Pine fame. Really excited about having you here, Ryan. We know you. You've been a dear friend of ours for, I feel like we've been a year, almost 2 years now, probably cultivating friendship now. But for those who don't know you, kind of give a breakdown of who you are, a little intro to yourself.
Sure. Yep, my name is Ryan. I am the owner and founder of a golf brand that's called Palmetto and Pine Golf Company. I live here in Charlotte. Started the brand about 2 years ago. Do you want me to kind of go ahead, dive into the story and some of that?
Yeah, give us the genesis of that whole thing.
Yeah. So it kind of it starts with my own personal origin of, I was born in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My dad was in the Coast Guard.
Dirty Myrtle. I respect. Hey, for all of our Myrtle Beach people, that's not insult. That's actually a compliment.
So I was born in South Carolina. So at the end of the day, this does feel very full circle for me. But growing up military, obviously I moved every 2 to 3 years for the first 18 years of my life. Ended up going off to college, and I went to school here in North Carolina, played lacrosse, did not play golf. And I graduated from college in 2018, and my parents are from Florida. Like, that's where, all of our family ties are down in Florida. And I moved down to Tampa to be closer to them, thinking like, okay, I think this is going to be a great place to settle down. I think this is going to be the place that I can call home and like, settle my roots. And I moved down there. My now wife, Jill, followed me down there, and we lived there for about 3 years. And there's like, it's a great place. It's a beautiful place. I have nothing like wrong with it. But after being there for a few years, it just like something still felt like missing. And so in 2021, funny enough, a few months before, we moved before our wedding, like a few months before our wedding, we're like, best time to move. So we moved to Charlotte in 2021 just because, I went to college. So I had friends in the area. My wife had some friends in the area. Uh, so it was a good spot. And we moved here in 2021. And I just remember it was October of that year. I went and played, I can't remember if it was 9 or 18 at Tradition Golf Club, which is just it's your basic public golf courses in the Charlotte area. And I just remember going and playing and standing on the fairway like by myself. There's nobody out there. It's like 6:30. Sun setting. It's like 70 degrees. It's just beautiful weather. You can hear the chirping of birds and the crickets and all the stuff. And I just remember standing on that fairway being like I feel like I found it. Like this is home. And that's really what the brand is built around, is that feeling. And so, fast forward about another year or so, I went on a golf trip for the first time. I went to Pinehurst and I played Tobacco Road. And that was like an experience of just like, whoa, like this is something like unique that I've never seen before. I didn't really know too much about like different types of golf courses and architecture and all of that stuff. And it just like sparked something in me of like, I need to see what else is out there. And fast forward another like 9 months, I am sitting there one day and I just kind of like all of the things going on in my life. At that point, I had made the decision to go sober. And one of the first like benefits I had from that decision was I just had this like flush of creativity come to me in the first few weeks. And during that time was when I had this idea of like, what if I did a golf brand and I did it based around Carolina golf and this love for the Carolinas that I have and this idea of finding home. And so that's really where the brand was born. And kind of, from there, originally it had a different name. It was originally known as Kakalaki Golf. Yeah. Get another.
One cease and desist later, and we've got a great brand now.
Yeah.
That's what we've
Got
got.
a little cease and desist after about a year of operating, and then rebranded to Palmetto and Pine, which is a name I'd been sitting on for a collection of products. So it was something that it felt very natural and was easy transition, or I guess not the easy transition, but I knew that was the vision and what it was meant to be. And so, definitely blessed for the new name and new logo. I couldn't be happier for the future of the brand. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at today.
For anybody watching on YouTube right now, check the hat, check the quarter zip, crispy gear. You got to check it out.
It is really, it is stupid good quality. Like I love it, soft, comfortable. I love the hats. I rock them all the time. And I think, Ryan, being there as you were even dialoguing the transition from Kakalaki into Palmetto and Pine Golf Company, I remember as soon as you mentioned it to me, like this was your idea, I'm like, I 100% would wear that. Like I would rock that. Like it made me like the inside tag, like a Holderness and Bourne, really nice. Shout out if you guys want to be a sponsor of the podcast, let us know. But if the idea was like if something that everybody would want to wear, I feel like that's what it is. You have a really good eye for design. I think that what every golfer would like to wear, and it's just, I don't know, it's really accessible too, like in the sense of it ties. And if people don't know, like the tie to Palmetto is the Palmetto State in South Carolina, and Pine, if you've ever been playing golf in North Carolina, you've seen these tall, wispy pines that are unbelievable. They're beautiful. And so the tie to that's just, I love it, man. I'm just a huge fan, not only of the brand, but of you in general, just because I think the journey that you've taken to even get to this thing is cool. Because by trade, what is your profession by norm?
Yes, yeah, I do work a day job. I work in accounting. I work in audit, so financial statements, numbers, all of that. So it is kind of neat to like, I have that side of me. I'm a very analytical type of person. Like that's just a lot of my nature. I've always loved stats and kind of that type of stuff. But then the brand is where I get to kind of let my creativity go and use that side of the brain and explore some of that.
It's awesome. Now you picked up a camera. Is that what it was? You picked up a camera? Were you already shooting stuff, or did you then just get into it after you decided to go this route?
No. So when I started the brand, obviously I was like, well, I need to get products or photos of the products. And my mom is a photographer. Like my entire life, my mom did photography. That's really how, she made money for a good while was doing it. So she always had a camera. She took pictures of like my high school lacrosse games. And so when I started the brand, I was like, I need to do a photo shoot. I was like, Mom, can you, and she lives down in Florida. I was like, can you fly up to Charlotte and help me with a photo shoot? And she came up here and did that. And it was great and dandy. And then kind of, she was here and I was kind of like, well, I need a camera to continue to get pictures. And like, I think there's stuff I could do with taking pictures of the golf courses. And I would ask her, I was like, would I be like, can I use the camera until Christmas? Like, I'll come home at Christmas, you can have it back, and I just want to like try it out. And she said yes, and I just kind of ran with it from there. Like, I picked up the camera and just immediately just every time I was, even now, I don't go to golf courses and not have my camera with me. And so it's been another really cool aspect to the brand is this love of photography, and then kind of help build a connection with my mom, which has been cool as well.
I just got to interject quickly. You glossed over a complete window of adolescence before college. You got to tell people where you were before you went to college in Carolina.
Sure. Yeah. So I don't even know if I can remember every like spot to spot and what the correct order of it was, but born in South Carolina. And then I think we moved down to South Florida, Miami area, which is, that's where my sister was born. And then I believe we lived in Mississippi, and then we moved to Florida. And then coming into like grade school, when I was in third grade, I lived in Emerald Isle, North Carolina, so out on the coast. Lived there for one single year, and then I moved up to Long Island, New York, where I lived there for 6 years, which is kind of some of my most influential years. That's where I started playing lacrosse, which then helped me with really, led to a lot of things that have happened in my life were because I played lacrosse. So lived in New York for 6 years, and then ended up in Virginia for my final 3 years of high school.
There we go. I was waiting for the 703 shout out. I had to get it in there somewhere. Ryan,
Go ahead.
I'm curious, we know your brand fairly well. What was kind of the vision of not just, hey, I want to create product for the golfers, not only of this region, but it feels like it kind of permeates golfers everywhere. Of course, so many people come to this area to play golf. What was kind of the vision of expanding that, of going what feels like dove pretty deep quickly into, I don't want to just create quality product. I want to be immersed in the space of what are the great courses in this area? How do I go capture them? How do I be a voice alongside the product that I'm putting out?
Yeah. So around the time before I first got the idea for the brand, I was really I watched a lot of Good, right as they started, and I watched a lot of Barstool Foreplay. And I kind of, when I had the idea for the brand, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, well, what is like Good and like Foreplay? What have they done really well? And it's like, well, they have like they're giving you value. There's entertainment. Like it's not simply just a brand like, hey, go buy our products. It's like, hey, we're doing this really cool thing, and like this is a way that you can kind of support what we're doing. Is the merch and the apparel and the brand side of it. So that was kind of a lot of my thought process when I started this, was like, this was never going to be, hey, I just want to make products and try to make money. It was, no, I wanted to make content of some sort. And if you went back and looked at the first post I make, they look nothing like what I make today. I didn't have a clear direction for the first 3 to 6 months of making content. It was kind of just making things for experience and learning how to make content. And then I just slowly kind of adapted and figured out, okay, this is the direction I want to take it.
That's a great segue. I know that you just did a content series with some other pretty prominent shooters in the game. What was the mindset behind that? And was that something that you kind of had on the board for a while? Or is there something even in the horizon where you're like, oh, I'd really like to get to this if I could do it in the game?
So the Palmetto Golf Loop, that series that I did, is that what you're referring to? So that came about because the South Carolina Golf Association, they reached out to me and they'd seen the content and what I'd been doing, and they really liked it. And they said they would love to collaborate and do something. And as soon as they reached out, I almost like immediately had this idea of like wanting to do a series. Just because there's plenty of other, creators out there that do these series, and I'm like, I just think there's something that can be done here, specifically, whether it's South or in North or wherever. I think there's something that can be done. So I immediately was like, I want to do a series, because I had, to this point, I think I've been to almost 80 different Carolina golf courses in the last like 2 years. And probably 60 of them are in North Carolina and like 20 are in South Carolina. Obviously, that's a very skewed, breakdown, but I live in North Carolina. It's a little bit easier for me to go play them. So I was like, yes, like let's do something. And I want to do a series where I can explore South Carolina golf and have that be a part of the story of like, hey, I need to do better as an owner of this brand, like explore this state that I'm trying to tell people about. So I immediately had this idea. I was like, yes, let's do a weekend of exploring South Carolina golf. And I was like, well, I want to do it in an RV. Let's add something interesting to this, make it entertaining, and just like, how do we just make this fun? And then the next step was like, okay, who can I involve? And I had my college roommate, John. He's a great dude. He's been a great supporter of the brand, has helped me a lot throughout the start of it. And then Chase Morales is another one who's helped me a lot with filming my content. He's done a lot of my interviews. Great dude. And so he was the next one that came to mind. And then needed the fourth spot. And I do an interview series for the brand that I call Pine Talk, where I try to talk with people to talk about, their relationship to golf in the Carolinas, and hear about whether they work at a golf course or whatever it is. And so I got in touch with Matt Gibson, he's the head of content at Pinehurst Resort. We did an interview back in March. And after, a month and a half or 2 months later comes this idea for this Palmetto golf loop. And I was just like, Matt, I got this thing. Like, I want to go drive around South Carolina in an RV. You have any interest in coming along and helping me with this idea? And luckily he said yes. I mean, he's such a massive inspiration to me. He's incredibly talented. I've been able to learn, a lot from him. So it's definitely, glad to have him a part of it. But it was such a, shout out to the South Carolina Golf Association for saying yes. It was such a fun trip. We started in Greenville. We went to Threes, which is a 12-hole par 3 golf course that's got lights on it, so you can play some night golf. And then we did the next day we started at a 9-hole cash only golf course. It's called Whitmire. It's a very small town, really neat. It's just golf, just in its most basic form. It's a really just neat spot. And then we went to Musgrove Mill, which is your high end private golf course. Incredibly hard. I have never felt like I wanted to quit the game of golf more than that round. Oh my goodness. But such a beautiful piece of property and golf course. And then Sunday we drove to Charleston, where we played the Charleston Muni to kind of hit, I wanted to travel across South Carolina and then hit a wide range of golf courses. So the Charleston Muni has been so high on my list to get out to. It's, the Seth Rayner, which goes into the golf architecture stuff that I really have enjoyed learning about. And to have that as a Muni in South Carolina in a very, I still think people take that place for granted for how crazy that is. It's such a neat spot. So yeah, that trip was so much fun.
I love it. And it is, if anybody has the chance to go on that YouTube channel, watch, that's such, I don't know, it's so fun. It was such a great idea around just jumping in an RV. And I love that you didn't grab a brand new, nice RV. You just, let me find the oldest thing I could possibly find that might make it around this trip. It just reminded me of just a 70s golf trip guys would go take together and go do something. It was just really cool. Of course, I was around the 70s, so I know what that's like. So it's pretty easy. Thanks a lot, guys. Ryan, with all of that, you've talked a little bit about, we talked about golf, kind of where your origin was in terms of moving around with the military and different things like that. But then you've also connected here with the Restoration Club. And that's how we got a chance to meet, originally through, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a message on Discord that we had first seen. Danny and I both saw the message, I think at the same time, probably. And it just kind of piqued some interest. And so I would love to talk a little bit about your joining along in the Restoration Club and kind of what that's been. So tell us about that initial connecting point to the brand and how you found out about it.
Yeah. So very long, I don't even think I'd started posting content yet. So I had the account for longer, for probably almost 8 to 9 months of just kind of lurking and just following people and trying to see things, and came across Jeff Marsh, and just fantastic skilled photographer, like, someone I definitely look up to. And just from following him and seeing his content, it really resonated with me. And he would talk about Restoration Club, and it this was like a point in my life of, like, I made the decision to go sober, which was a very, a big thing in my life, that I was just like, look, I have to make changes. Like, something needs to be done. Like, I don't think I'm on the right path with my life. And so one of the, early thoughts of that journey was like, I think I need to explore my faith. Like, I've always believed in something, but I'd never really put a finger on it, or, pointed it at anything. Um, but I knew I believed in something. And so when I saw Jeff's stuff, it just kept like, it just felt like it was like that early, like, messages of like, look, I think God's trying to, like, put this in front of me and point me in this direction. And so I joined Restoration Club, the Discord, and that was, I think, one of the first message I essentially sent was like, look, I'm, like, new to faith and I'm trying to figure it out, but, like, hey guys, I'm right. And so, yeah, that's how I joined.
It's so fascinating because I think, and I can guarantee that a lot of people listening are probably even in that same space now, have been, or are even thinking about it in the moment. And so it's really cool because I remember, again, following up with you after seeing that message, going, hey, man, I'd love to grab a cup of coffee. And so we met up in Concord and we said, hey, let's just sit down and talk. And we just spent, gosh, I feel like it's 2 or 3 hours just talking life. And honestly, I felt like the first hour and a half was just us talking, getting to know each other and kind of talking in that sense. And then you just started dropping some serious questions like, oh, all my Bible training is about to come into line here, and see if that degree that I earned mattered. But it was really cool because you've been really, like, vulnerable and open. And what I think I've loved is, like, it gave me, as someone who, I mean, I was in my 20s when I met Jesus, and it was really important to me to kind of be around people that could help me kind of learn. And so I learned that early on, was like, if I could be around good people who are, like, good and can help point me in good direction, then I think that I'm going to have a higher likelihood and a chance. And I always said I would be that, as that for someone else too. So I think it was really cool just being able to come along. And now we've had multiple dinners and we talk all the time, all these kinds of things we've done. We play golf. We've just connected. And I think one of my favorite, and I hope it's okay that I share this, but, like, you and I are in the Bible app doing Bible devotions together, sharing back and forth about what we're reading, lined up together. And that's, how does that, like, for you, being able to even, or wanting to even do that, was that intimidating? Was that something you were like, oh, I got to do something, so let's figure it out? How did that play out for you?
Yeah, it was just like I can't. This isn't a journey that I don't, like, can do alone. I needed guidance. So it was just like, yeah, like, and it would just, like, one, I needed guidance, and also to just start to build that consistency and truly build that relationship with God. Um, was to, like, yeah, let's do this, and, keep at it and keep seeing where it goes, and, yeah, just build that relationship.
Awesome. And Danny, I feel like you guys have chopped it up number of times as well. When you've seen Danny, when you've seen Ryan come along on this process and path, how have you been, especially when we're looking at it from, as a founder of Restoration Club? How does that, I don't know, how does that sit with you too?
I was just gonna say, when you guys were talking, it's a similar perspective. Ryan and I've had the opportunity to hang out a few times, but not as much as you guys. And I'll say yet. I'll stress the yet, because there's still a lot of golf to be played, a lot more coffee to be drank. But no, exactly like you said, Ryan. When we first saw him even pop in the Discord, I think there's always a exciting perspective of guys jumping in there and just announcing themselves, where they're at. And I think because we know why we built it, the assumption is there's got to be other guys that have been on this faith journey for quite some time that want to find community and hopefully can find it with us. But I think there's always something different about guys who are seeking that out, where you ask the question, were you intimidated by that? A lot of guys, let's just be honest, probably aren't as bold to jump into a community and just say, hey, I'm here and this is where I'm really at. So I think it just, like you said, piqued our interest of, oh, this is a little different. This is not something we see all the time, and appreciated it even more that someone was willing to do that right off the bat. So just like you said, Ryan, I'm hoping other guys hear this, and if they're in a similar spot, are willing to do the same thing.
Yes, no pressure, Cummings. You got to get this right, man. Don't mess it up. No, it's beautiful though, guys, because this really is the journey. It's like I love that it could be someone could have met Jesus at 3 years old, someone could be 50 years old, and someone could be right in their 20s going, "Hey, I just found sobriety. Now I know there's another layer to my journey, and I really feel like this is the thing." And then you kept feeling that prompt. Even my own spiritual journey has a small connected point where I could hindsight look back and see where God was trying to speak to me and trying to, and even without any kind of like connected uh, piece to it directly from anyone speaking, but I could tell where God was putting me in places and positions. Next thing I know, I'm like, this is it. This is that the decision was made and then the actions followed. And I thought that was really cool because I feel like that's what I've been watching with you too, as you've been taking that down the path. If you were to speak to other people who are kind of either interested about a journey like this or um, are at the beginning of the process, is there any advice you would simply lay down for them?
I think it goes to just the willingness to say, like, one, that either you don't know, um, or that you are new. Like, Ryan, we had dinner and you you essentially like you're like you're a baby in this journey. Like, in terms of your faith, you're a brand new baby. And like it's kind of funny, like I took that and I was like, yeah, like you're absolutely right. Like, I have so much to learn, I have so much growth to be had. And I think it's just accepting that and being okay with that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And to just, I mean, it's just enjoying the journey of building that relationship with God is kind of just how I've tried to approach it. Yeah, so you just got to be willing.
And just to clarify with everyone, I wasn't calling him a baby like in a bad name, just everybody. I was just
Yeah.
giving the idea that like babies are on milk, so they got to start somewhere. And you can't throw a toddler a T-bone steak because it's
Yeah.
like, I feel like and we even had that conversation because you were asking something very like, why am I not already at this level or far enough along? And I'm like, brother, I'm not even close to that level. What are you like? What are we doing here? Like, it's just, but it's a good point to, as a reminder, like it's okay to we receive God's grace freely, I hope, but it's okay to give ourselves grace sometimes too. It's all right. You don't have to have the answers, but I think the key, Ryan, and what I've witnessed with you is seeking to find the answer, not just living in it. And I haven't had a chance to say this to you very much, but I've really appreciated, number one, your pursuit of sobriety. I think that is an honorable move. I know a lot of guys who've gone down that same path. I've also known a lot of guys who've fallen off that same path and they couldn't do it. But I'm really proud of you for sticking with it, finding the thing that you just wanted, a better life, and you knew what you needed and you pursued that. And then that layer again to the second layer of pride is me saying I'm proud of you for even jumping in to something again that you knew there's something out there and you felt that compass pointing you to this. And so I'm just super excited and proud because when Danny, Jeff, and Dave dreamed up this thing of Restoration Club, um, they couldn't have pinpointed this exact kind of moment, but this is exactly the kind of moment that needs to be happening and had, because it's really what this is about. This is about connection. This is about using the game of golf along with it. Because if Jeff was a good NASCAR photographer, you're probably not following him, right? But because it's golf, you're like, oh, that's awesome. And then you're learning and you're seeing, and that's an inspiration. And then you're connected with the guys like a Chase or or Matt, all these guys who are just incredible with skills and gifts, but are also just incredible people. And I think there's something valuable, and you better count your blessings because you've got so many good people surrounding you, and keep that circle good. That would be, if there's ever any life lessons anybody asks me, it's always keep your circle well. It's an important piece of it all.
Ryan, I was going to ask you, hit on kind of standing on that fairway at tradition, and maybe from that step to just asking the question, I get it, but why golf? And then as you've kind of stepped into your personal relationship with God and what that journey looks like, has that played out in any other way in building community or meeting other people in the game? And what does that look like since kind of making that decision and that move?
Um. Okay, hold on. First question was thinking about tradition and
Why golf? Why did golf make sense to you?
golf. So golf. I mean, it really just came about because, like, I'd always played sports growing up. Um, like, I've always just had that competitive nature. I've always, like, growing up, had a ball in hand or a stick in hand, like something to throw and be active with. And so when I graduated college, I'd played golf a little bit growing up, some par 3 courses, but I'd never played all that much. In college, it was, a drinking activity with buddies on our weeks off from lacrosse practice. And so when I graduated college, it was just like, well, I don't want to get beat up playing like men's league lacrosse. I'm about over that. So it's like I want to get into something else. So like golf was kind of a very natural thing to like, all right, I can do this. I'm not going to get beat up doing it. And it's something that I can continuously improve on and pursue. And there's so many avenues. There's so much to explore with it. So it kind of just felt natural, and it's definitely become a big love of mine.
And so with that, as Danny gave the second part, Danny, give that to him again, that second little bit, because I think it really ties well.
Yeah, I was just asking, ever since making that personal decision and how to pursue a relationship with God, how has that played out in other relationships or building other community that you've seen within the game?
I think a lot of it comes down to, I think it's allowed me to be more present with a lot of what I've done. It feels easy. I'm go from place to place. I have a lot going on. I'm constantly have tons on my plate, but like to kind of just like take some of those moments to just be present, whether it's on a golf course or with the people I'm with, um, and just either if I could sit by myself and close my eyes and try to talk to God, still trying to learn some of that stuff. um, but like just to be present and in the moment, I think that's been huge. And that's some of it. It just helps calm me down. I think that's been such an added benefit to building this relationship with God. And then I think it's allowed me to open up and want to find communities to be a part of, whether it's something like Restoration Club, whether it is, Twilight Golf Club, or even with what I'm doing with Palmetto and Pine. Like I'm constantly connecting and talking with people. It's just kind of opened me up, and had a desire to just connect with people and learn from other people and build relationships.
I feel like a lot of people would probably say one of the greatest tactics of the enemy is to distract and busyness. So the fact that you're out there trying to be present and be a little still, I think is the right move. A lot of people in this day and age don't take time to do that. I'm pointing the finger at myself a little bit there too.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Danny, may we all take that advice to like slow down. And even in busyness, to find those moments, like when Ryan's like, do I just take a moment and just talk to God, just by myself here for a moment? Or Jeff always talks about grounding his feet, like laying down on a golf course,
Literally.
wherever he's at, like that kind of stuff, literally laying down. And it's like, oh, that kind of thinking. I've actually started practicing our backyard, just walking out in the grass in the mornings and just having my feet on the soil and saying, all right, here's where I am, and trying to connect with the creator, so to speak, and making it be something that kind of drives the day. And I do catch myself when I don't do it, having this little like, oh, not that anything bad's happened. It's just it didn't feel as good because it was like there was that really great communal moment that I would have in those times. So that's a great bit of advice for everyone to take in the process. That's good.
Ryan, I'm so curious to ask, now that you feel, I assume, pretty rooted in the Carolinas and have really kind of established yourself, what was the perspective, as you noted, moving here 3 months before getting married? What was your wife's perspective? What does that kind of look like? And what are her thoughts around what you've built, and maybe even how you're pursuing God now too?
Yeah, I mean, I think Charlotte just felt like a natural place just from knowing people, and it's also her family is still up in Northern Virginia, so it's we're an easier drive to get to them, and it's a quick flight to get down to Florida. Conveniently, the regional airport in Charlotte, the Concord one, flies down to the where my parents live, so we can go on a weekend trip for like $100 round trip. It's incredible. So it's just it feels very meant to be. Like it feels like we're in the right spot. And I definitely, I know she feels that way too. So we're, it feels nice to have our roots settled down here. But she's been incredibly supportive with what I've done with the brand, and pursuing my relationship with God. She's been incredibly supportive with all of it. I know, especially with the golf stuff, it can keep me away from, on the weekends, because I am doing this on the side. I'm not doing the brand full time. So I do have to put in time and energy that's outside of work hours. And so that's like, okay, still have to balance a relationship and still have to try and, find the time to be present with her, which then goes back to, yes, like the presence thing is like, okay, how do it's not just simply on a golf course, but it's like, how do I be present with my marriage, with my wife, like when we're together? It's still, very much a work in progress. I'm not a perfect human being in any sense, but it is a constant reminder that I feel like I get. So it's good to have.
Well
That's
said.
awesome. I love that's yeah, that's like mic drop on for everybody who's in a relationship and how we can pursue and not just pursue the person, but pursue the presence together with that person is really big, especially for us to be present in that moment. So big. That's awesome, man.
Should we land it? What do you think?
The conversation though, this is awesome. No, it's so, I don't know, Ryan, you know me, I'm a big fan in general, just you as a person. And I've just really appreciated your vulnerability, your transparency through all of our work. As always in the clubhouse, we always have that one big question that layers out there for people. And Danny, you want to pitch it?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Yeah, so Ryan, as you may or may not know, we love to ask every guest, what is your favorite memory on a golf course not involving a golf club?
Yeah, that one. I mean, my mind, like the very first one is the moment that I mentioned of standing there on that fairway at Tradition. Like that's probably the number one like moment in that comes to mind for me. And then the next is probably, I mean, I don't even know if it's necessarily any specific place or instance, but it's been some of the times just out on a golf course with a camera at sunset or sunrise. One of my favorite places is Nag's Head Golf Links. It's out in the Outer Banks, and I go there for work trips, and I'll go there. We'll be there in the middle of the week, and I'll go to the course at I'm not even to play. I'll just be out there at like sunset with just my camera, just kind of walking around, and just like it's not even a thought about playing golf. It's just like appreciating what I'm seeing. And those are the moments that I like really, really love. Like it has nothing to do with wanting to swing a golf club, but it's just appreciating the beauty of what God's put in front of us. Whether it's Nags Head Golf Links, I was in Waynesville, North Carolina recently, and same thing. The mountains, just a beautiful area, sunrise, sunset. It doesn't matter. It's just to have that moment to just like look around and just appreciate like the course.
Awesome. I love it. I think it's so cool because when you have that opportunity, that stillness and that quiet, it just really does kind of bring it all together with what you're trying to do. So I love that you have those multiple memories that you have that you get the chance to make and can be a part of all that. Ryan, if people wanted to find out, learn more about Palmetto and Pine Golf Company, how do they get connected?
Yeah, so Instagram is the main platform that I use. It's Palmetto and Pine Golf. I'm also on YouTube. You can search Palmetto and Pine Golf. And then the website is palmettoandpinegolf.com. That's where I have all the products. Have like a map if anybody's ever looking for recommendations for courses. I have, stuff that I include as my own, and then stuff that, followers have given. So I have that on there as well. Yeah, that's it.
I love it. That's good. Guys, we will always talk about the merchandise is beautiful. The photography and drone work is great, but Ryan's an even better person. And so for all of the ways when you talk about supporting businesses and supporting people, that's really what it's about. We're supporting the heart behind the work that happens. It's the same reason why our merch shop is so successful is because people aren't just buying a nice shirt or a ball marker. It's that they know that there's a heart behind this thing. There's a mission that's happening and that wants to really share and spread and really make something magic happen for people. And this kind of opportunity that I hope you've heard through Ryan's story and through all of our connectedness together is really something that we've been trying to play out for a long time, and why the clubhouse even exists with Restoration Club. We have this because it's about people connecting, and it's such a good reminder to have this conversation together and do all that stuff, man. So can't say how much we appreciate you, and we're excited about whatever's next for Palmetto and Pine Golf Company and whatever's next for you.
Pine Restoration Carolina collection collab.
Oh, we're about to do an X collab. Don't play games with them. Don't play games with them. Yes, now we can talk.
Never know. Never know.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So good, man. Well, thanks, Ryan. We appreciate you so much for everything, and we will talk to you soon. All right.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
man.
brother. Pull over.
All right, man. Well, that was season 3, episode 6 with Ryan Cummings of Palmetto and Pine Golf. Everybody, go check out the brand, check out the content. Guy's doing great things. Glad he's in the community, man.
I love that cat, man. It's so cool. It's refreshing to see people just like when they start something new, and not just for his own self with his business starting fresh with new revamps for it, but honestly, like pursuing that faith piece is such a, it's just given me more life just to hear somebody kind of being honest in it and trying to figure it out. And it's been a really cool thing. I'm glad you and I answered that Discord message, and it's been really cool.
Couldn't agree more. I'm sure he'll be plenty involved moving forward. Hope he brings some others along for the ride too. But yeah, man, keeping them going. I'm sure we got a few more left to get in before we finish this season. But everybody keep following us on Instagram, restoration_club, website, restorationclub.co. Still have some gear up there. Check it out. We are entering fall golf season. I'm sure this one's going to air post Ryder Cup. So the hype is real right now. I'm hoping we're celebrating a U.S. win here shortly.
Fingers crossed. Stars and stripes. Let's go.
I got you. Well, until next time, Ryan, keep swinging, man.
Keep swinging.